It's been about a year since I read Iron Flame and Fourth Wing, which are two first books in the Empyrean by Rebecca Yarros, and now we have Onyx Storm, which is the third book, funnily enough. And, you know, I think it's good that it's been a year, I can already say that. I did not like Iron Flame as much as I liked Fourth Wing. I thought Fourth Wing was pretty good, and then Iron Flame was very much below mediocre, below average. And I think that's just the case of it wasn't like it had enough time to bake in the oven, if you can say it like that. Like Yaros definitely needed to work more on it. So hopefully, with entire year of working on one book, it should work out. So this book stands at a 4.2 out of 5 on the story graph, which is what I started to use instead of Goodreads, with about 75,000 reviews, which is, for a smaller competitor to Goodreads, really well. Now, let's talk a little bit about what people have stated about this book, because it's kind of interesting. They said that 60% people have said that the pacing is medium, while 30% says fast. The 70% have said that it's a mixture of plot and character that drives the story, and there's a strong character development, and about 80% says there's lovable characters. So now we kind of have an idea of what's going on. There's also a diverse cast of characters, with 90% saying that, which is, already something we know from the first book, that Yarros spends a lot of time making sure that there's representation in her books in a way that does not feel bad or worse. Like Desnia, or what, Desnia, the scholar girl is is deaf. Yeah, she's either deaf or mute. I think she's deaf. And Rhiannon is, I think, bisexual but leaning lesbian, and so on and so forth. So, we got stuff. Satan is black, so we got representation of different kinds. So definitely have a diverse cast of characters, and I mean, it doesn't really do anything bad for the story. Now, when I got this, the book came out about a month ago. I had other books I was reading, like Dauntless, The Lost Fleet, and I'm working on getting through the Dwarves too. So in this book, I got this book for Christmas, which either Christmas or my birthday, by my in-laws, which means I got a laminated piece of paper with the cover saying "You'll get it when it comes out." So that's why I have it now. Now let's look at the cover. The cover follows the same style as both the Iron Flame and Fourth Wing, which is this like Art Nouveau-esque symbol with a dragon and the text, and then a little tagline. These dots here goes along again. All of them has that. This dashed line, like a lot of this, the way the clouds are made goes on. We added down here the Empyrean series. I don't recall it being on the two others. That I like when books do that. We have here this cloud pattern, continues on to the spine and onward to the backside, where we again frame the text. This pattern here also matches with the two other books in the series, so we get a nice looking shelf when we look at it. I'm a huge fan of these covers. This is a darker book, darker storyline. In many ways, so it makes sense we have darker colors. Also, Onyx is a very dark color. It's a black stone. Storm, we have the gray, so black and gray. It works out. Or black and silver, you could technically say, because Satan's black hair, Violet's silver hair. That also means a lot. So I like the cover a lot. I think it fits the story. I think it's very well done, and it is done by. Oh yeah, right. On the inside we have here Satan and Violet, and the picture continues over here. But let's quickly take a look. Probably the same person who did the other books did this cover, I would assume. But we actually don't know. I haven't looked it up. I should. Just because it's polite to do. Interior art is by Brie Archer. Nice job, Brie. You did a great job. Interior world map is by Melanie Corte. Also awesome. The interior design is by Britt Majak. Nice. And the end paper art, I assume that's what they mean this with, even though this would have been the end paper, but whatever, is done by Beth Gilbert _art. Nice job, Beth Gilbert. But who did the cover art? It does not say. I'm gonna put it up on the video right about now because we want to support the artist. Does it say here? Cover art and design by Brie Archer and Elizabeth Turner Stokes. Adapted by Ben Pryor and stock art from Shutterstock. Alright, so nice job by Brie Archer and Elizabeth Turner. Nice job, you two. And we got book back in frame. So really nice job. I love it. Now let's move on to the first 26 chapters. And if you're on TikTok, you will know why we divided at the 26th chapter. The prologue is fine and all. It isn't anything special feeling to me, and it isn't really doing anything. The only great thing is the amount we get the dragons, especially Adana. I have, for both of the other books, been asking Yarros to add more dragon dialogue, and we finally get that. Afterwards, the story throws us right into the thick of it without foreplay, and it's kind of refreshing. Yes, we add on flesh. Refreshing. But given the amount of time since the previous book came out, it's also a little confusing, you know. I have a couple books, what they do is they'll add a page of like the story so far, because if you read them as they come out, you will forget things, and that's really nice, and I think every book should do that. And I like that we got an explanation for how Satan have been able to find and kill so many of the enemy soldiers, but also that it's kind of the central premise of the story. It's not kinda, it is. It's really neat how Adana's 7 clan thingy and the potential cure for Satan also is the same. Like we're taking two widely different things and added into the same, because I don't think this book could handle too many main plots. Like searching for a cure, searching for the 7th clan, and stopping the invasion. All three, if they were separate storylines, I think it would be too confusing. So really, I think it's great to have an overarching story that really is mainly in the background, and then we have two goals that are kind of the same. Now, when going on this quest, Violet has to present some demands Adana has, which she does, and it was painfully tame. We've been shown how Violet is a standoffish girl, she's a do-it-yourself, she doesn't take no bullshit, and here they're like, no. And then she goes, oh, I guess not then. Sorry. I didn't expect her to win the discussion, but I expected her to fight back. Now, let's jump to something different than fighting. Sex. On page 30 we get the first sex scene, and it was actually pretty good, you know. Page 30, when is that? Oh, that's page 4, so there. This long. And it wasn't because of the sex that the sex was good. The sex scene was good. It was the emotional aspect. We got to see them as equals, them being Satan and Violet. We get to see them as equal in the relationship, because Satan didn't try to hide anything. He reacted in a scared way in the middle. I'm not gonna say why, and well, I might. I don't remember if I'm gonna say it from the script, but we'll see. Satan didn't try to hide anything. He reacted in a scared way, and Violet right away did as she was told, and reacted how you would expect from someone, certainly the person you love, being scared and telling you to get away. But then we get Satan quickly explaining to himself so Violet doesn't get hurt or angry, and it was honestly great. They were an actual couple with chemistry looking into a scary situation, and they were handling it together. And hopefully the entire story is like that, because that's what I've been complaining about in the other books, that Satan is not only a jealous type, he's a controlling, manipulating type, and I'm so glad that is not here. And talking about shit I like, the story is surprisingly really good. as I said many times, was not a fan of the second book, but Yarros really picked up the quality here. And this is especially true when it comes to Satan and Violet's relationship, as mentioned, because as we read more, we see this goes again. There's not this toxic, demanding, controlling thing from Satan. Well, there is some, but now it's been more relegated to a flaw that Satan must work on, and that Violet is pushing back against to make him work on it. And Violet is also way more proactive about it all. She used to just be quite passive, but now she's even talking back against her dragons with some level of authority. And talking of the dragons, they play a much larger role than in the earlier books. They talk and they bicker more with Violet, and we get to see their personalities more, and it's just so great. It's a super great and large amount of fun. And I think she took a lot of complaints to heart and worked on it proactively, trying to make it better, and it worked. And the book is fast-paced though, like very fast at times. I felt like it almost has problems keeping up with itself, and I had problems at times keeping up with the planning they're doing. But I also think that's because Yarros really likes to skip the planning discussions. She likes to do a lot of small time skips, where she skips to the plans being done. And it's okay, because it gets us a lot of action and excitement. But it also creates this weird disconnect between us and the story. Because the characters will talk as if everyone knows and understands the plan, because they do. But we don't. And it feels like Yarros is saying, just roll with it. And it's a little frustrating at times. However, I'm glad she didn't fall into the, as you know, you have to do this, the plan is this. Like characters saying that to each other, because that's even more horrendous. This just means that you kinda have to read a lot of these action sequences in one go, or else you'll be lost because you're not told much. And I think Yarros did a genius move with preventing Satan and Violet from having sex constantly, because both of them have a high sex drive. So quickly the book would just turn into sex scene after sex scene after sex scene. But by using already established law that they can control themselves, they can control their powers during sex, it makes sense then that Satan would channel from the ground, and therefore they can't have sex, because, he'll get more evil. In the grand scheme of things, it is a minor detail, but it serves to add another layer to the relationship. It also adds a lot of tension, and it adds a little more urgency. Now, I praised Yarros for making Violet more of the do-it-yourself girl than she has been in the previous books, but then when she stands in the front of the seminarium, she just completely faltered. And now I was very disappointed there, but the second time here, it was so good, because she was just like, listen up, you jack shit horrible people, it failed beforehand, here's how we're gonna do it so it doesn't fail again. And I love it. It was great in every way. It was too short in my opinion though. I wish we had more of that, like them suddenly fighting back, but I'm glad to see Violet standing up. It's funnier when she's being a sassy bitch. And I know I'm skipping a lot of things here. That's because I'm genuinely having a lot of fun, and I don't want to spoil too many details. Now we get to the mission though, where the TikTok famous chapter 25 takes place. And let me tell you, I fucking love Satan in the entire part of that far off island kingdom. That's big complaint here coming from the map. It's not on the map. This is the continent. They call it the continent. They end up finding out it has a proper name. But why not give us, the Isles or whatever? But I digress. Anyways, when they're on that island, because there's no magic, Satan gets to relax, and he gets to bicker, and he gets to tease, and we get to see how the tight our group of characters are becoming. And it's funny, like the entire reaction is like, because he's joking with Dane and making fun of him in a teasing way, and Dane is just like, who are you? Where's Satan? It's funny. it is absolutely funny and it's amazing. And I want characters like Kat and Dane to get a bigger role, because they're interesting, and them being exes, or almost exes for Dane, adds an interesting dynamic, and it's forcing Satan to get better at controlling his temper. Now, the famous sex scene on chapter 25, it really isn't anything special. When it comes to sex, it isn't even great erotic or smutty hardcore almost porn, it's just a sex scene. And it's bad. Well, it's not bad, it's just not when you were told that it was supposed to be something very special and heated, and it is heated, but not in the way you thought it would be. Then it's kind of disappointing. But then we talk about the emotional aspect. And remember, we haven't had sex since page 30, and now we are like 100 pages, nearly 200 pages later. 22, let's see, when are we? 25 is here. That's 200 pages later. That's when we get our sex scene. The emotional part of it is amazing. The sex is not. And it gives us a breather, and it gives us a way to renew their relationship, to show us what they're working towards, and I love it. So far, this is a genuine good book. I can't wait to read more. Now for the rest of the story, I forgot to write down notes because I was having a lot of fun. So we're gonna freestyle it a little, talking about my favorite aspects, but I also think that's okay because I think my thoughts on the book are kind of clear. But there are some negative things, and there are some things that I don't really like, and I think second parts of books usually are when they're dropping it a little. Now, I was not so a big part of it though, they're going on this huge mission to find the seventh clan thing, and they're going from island nation to island nation, both to find a clan and to get allies for the war. And it kind of felt odd that each island just supported one god, but we didn't get a lot of the world building. For instance, one of the first islands, and the one where they succeed to get an ally, is the one supporting the god of luck. Why do we have a god of luck? What does he add to the pantheon? What does he add to the world? You know? But way more importantly, right? Why are they so open about these dragons and all? They never seen dragons before. Why are they not scared? Like, there's a lot of things going on. But and it makes me want to ask more questions. And then we get to the scene itself, and yes, it's luck that none of them get shot with an arrow except for that one dude, I don't remember his name. And I'm glad Yarros is not afraid to kill off her characters. And it is a bit of more of one of the more important characters, but still, like, important side characters. But still, it's when the people making the test knows every outcome. Is it really luck when they know one of them's gonna die? And it's like, oh, you have to show greatness for whatever gifts the god of luck gives you. It's like, why? Why is that necessary? We don't get explanations for that. I wanted Yarros to delve more into this mythology he's created that's not part of the dragons. But, oh well. Now, a part that I really liked though is how tight the group gets, and is also how they handled the what's it called, the Island of Wisdom thing. And I really like it first and foremost because we get some of Satan's family, and Satan's family is weird, especially his mom, and that's because she left him for her home island. And we find out that she really did love Satan, blah 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 and all that, but Satan is still really hurt about it, understandable. But the entire test is then for them to figure out how, like, that there was poison in some of their food, so they shouldn't eat it. And that's apparently the wisdom part. And that makes no sense to me. Why is that the wisdom? Why is shrewd tactics wisdom? And I honestly don't get that. I do love how Violet, I guess you could say outsmarted, but outshrewd, I don't know, how she won that by poisoning back, but she only knew the thing because her dad wrote about the plant. Like, it's more luck than anything. Really, you could argue they won because of luck, because if her dad hadn't written down anything, he would have no clue. So, it's a little weird for my taste, but again, it's fine. It's not the end of the world to me. And then we get to the dragons. And the dragons, like the 7th clan, when they show up, we learn they're pacifist. But why did they show up the way they did? Like, why? That it was really weird to me. They shouldn't have to show up like that. They just decided, oh, you're on a deserted island, you spread out to search for us, alright, we'll show ourselves. Why? That we don't get an explanation for why they decide to show themselves. And they're really dumb, to be fair. They placed Adana's egg to have her grow up amongst the dragons, but to show that they weren't violent. And then she basically goes, well, you know, I grew up amongst dragons who were fighting a war and fighting for their lives. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then they're like, no, you failed us. And then even Violet goes, but you set her up to fail. You are kinda dumb. And they're like, no, she just failed our test. End of discussion. We're gonna go be moody. But something I like though, like really like about that scene there, was we get a huge character moment for Adana when she has to explain why she's base colored black, because they can choose whatever color they want. And the base color black is because Tarn is black. Tarn is the other dragon Violet is bonded to. He doesn't play a major role, he's just there being sassy in the book, and I love it. Absolutely love it, it's great fun. But we get to see how much Adana is looking up to her adoptive dad. It's basically what's going on. But yeah, skipping ahead a bit, a big complaint I read about this book is everybody getting these unique powers, and suddenly everybody is special, but no one's special. Like, everybody gets powers if they bond to a dragon, or else they die. But it's described as a lot of them get common powers. So like ice is relatively common, but then we learn the ice guy on the team is like, yeah, but I'm the only one who can freeze water inside of bodies. He hasn't tested it, he only tested it on an orange. But it's apparently not something every ice person can do. And Rhiannon, who can teleport things, can teleport like an entire wyvern claw out of Tarn's side to save him. Like, that's apparently not common. We get a second shadow wielder, the prince gets pure precognition, and that's kind of how the entire thing is saved. And it just feels like everybody gets these amazing powers, even though they are not. And it's a little weird, to be fair. A little on the very weird side, but it's also okay, you could say. So let's conclude a bit on this story. I think the book is probably the best in the series. Not even probably, it is best. It is actually really good. I think you should read it, especially read the 2 first books. So if the second book got you kind of on the fence whether or not you should read it, I would say read it. It's a lot of fun, this one. It's way better. Yarros has definitely listened to a lot of the criticism, taking it to heart, and instead of going, no, she has worked and she has fixed a lot of the problems. And I can't wait for the 4th book. There's a reason why this book is the most selling book since Harry Potter was a thing. Well, since Harry Potter came out, basically. So yeah, absolutely. Have you read it so far? Let me know in comments. Are you planning to read it? Next book we're gonna review is The Kings of Glonmel by John Flanagan. It's the 8th book in The Ranger's Apprentice. So leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more books and more book bindings once I finish the one I'm working on. It's a big project. A big project.